Glad to have you here and welcome to the fam. Guys, as you can see, I just finished the Quarry. It's Halloween now, so happy Halloween, everybody. Uh, this video is just kind of a relaxed video. It's mostly to talk about the Quarry, so there will be some spoilers in here. So be forewarned if you haven't already, check out my gameplay in the video. It's either here or here. But without further ado, the Quarry. Amazing game. I enjoyed the story elements, and it was a bit cliche, but I enjoyed that because it played out like a movie. But you also got to develop uh, feelings and attachments to each of the characters, and I thought that was simply amazing. Just and if I were to say the one thing that really stood out to me the most out of it was that you had choice, and it's a reflection of life itself. Choice matters in this game. And it's funny because every choice you made a different impact, and it spread throughout the game and made different things happen. In fact, I read about it just after I finished it. There's like over 170 different endings in this game, which explains why the ending is the way it is. At first, when I got to the ending, I was like, ah, they didn't do the whole scene with the cops coming and talking to you thing, or whoever was left or whatever. Well, the reason for that is there's so many different endings that I can understand that, and so it threw me off because I'm used to seeing them do the different endings for each of their games that way, and it was now something different. But it was nice at the same time to realize that every little choice you made a difference. And it's funny how it reflects into like real life. If you think about it, every choice that you make in real life makes a difference. It can have both a small impact or even a large impact in life. And I like that. It's a good reflection of life. And it's interesting because I didn't save everybody. And so I had to deal with another fact of life and having choice is loss. There were some characters I liked that I lost, and there were some characters that I was like, whatever. But at the same time, I still kind of grew attached to them in some form of compassion or some form, and I losing them sucked. And sometimes it was because I pushed a button and the game didn't register it, but it happened. And I got upset or I got sad, and I still had to move on. There were times, I will admit, because I can cut and re-edit this, I wanted to just go back and just cut it out and make sure it was perfect. But it's kind of like life is too. It's not, life's not perfect. Things will happen that you don't like. Choices you make difference. Can sometimes choices other people's make makes a difference and makes your day have a bad day. Sometimes you have bad days. Sometimes the things that you choose to do don't always end up what you're wanting. And I like that. It's a good reflection on life and a good lesson that I learned. Also, the fact that you dealt with each of the characters, it really broadened my experience with dealing with people specifically. Because I'm an introvert. I am terrible dealing with people. In fact, being on this camera is a little off-putting, but at the same time, I'm good with like one-on-one with people. And so when I'm talking with these people, sometimes when I'm interacting with some of the characters, I didn't understand why they did certain things. Or like take Emma for example, when she was taking Abigail and or not Abigail, but taking Nick and Frenching him in front of Jacob and in front of Abigail. So she was basically trying to light a fire between Nick and Abigail, and she even explained later on, and it kind of clicked to me that that's how she did it, that that's what she was intending. Now, I might not have agreed that that was the best thing to do in that situation, but it let me be more understanding and receptive of why she did the things that she did. She wasn't just trying to be a bitch. Even though there was a lot better ways to do it, it's just interesting because it's broadened my perspective at looking at people. In fact, looking at different relationships and how they interact and stuff. Like sometimes I would do one thing, like I tried to like pick up a gun to be safe, but it pissed Ryan the fuck off, and I didn't mean to piss him off. I was just trying to think of safety because I'm thinking of the game. But it's playing out like a story like real life would be like if you were put in a horror situation. And so it's very interesting because I can take these interactions that I've seen from characters and I've got a better understanding. So when I go into real life, I can actually apply those. So it's not exactly the same. It's kind of like a, and even then it is, it's kind of like a muscle. If you don't use it enough, it tends to dwindle. But as you use it, and you repeatedly try to be social, you get better at it. And so these different skills help broaden my perspective so that I'm a better person and I'm more conscious of the people around me. And then, it being a horror game, one of the other lessons I learned was facing my fears. My God, this was a terrifying game. Let's be honest, there was like some straight up moments where I'm panicking inside and I could only do like one recording at a time because of how crazy scary this game was at times. There was good moments where it wasn't super scary, but there was times I was on edge because I knew that characters could die and you couldn't get them back. There was no reset button to bring them back. They were gone, and it was nerve-wracking. And that was thrilling at the same time, like super scary, like dealing with monsters and just facing different fears. Like I don't think I put this in one of the videos, but I actually picked up one of the chip bags at the very beginning, and Jacob saw the spider, and I freaked the fuck out. I didn't put that in there because it didn't like fit well with the story, but yeah, I freaked out with Jacob, and I'm not afraid of spiders. It was just a jump scare, and it got me pretty good. Um, and I think the last lesson that I learned out of this game was to enjoy the journey, because the thing was that at the end, it's over, and you're like, eh, well, I think, hold on. I think the thing is that it wasn't about getting to the end of the game per se, but the experience in between it. Because everything that happened had a reason, and it better influenced my life, and it told a good story that I enjoyed. I mean, it didn't turn out how I wanted to, but it was a little bit life changing, honestly, because it got me to start thinking about things in a different light. And I mean, it reinforces the fact that, you know, it well, it reinforces the fact that all these other things are important, such as choice, dealing with loss and anger, and, broadening your perspective to the people around you and facing your fears. Like, these are all important aspects that we deal with all throughout life. And I like games like this that, like, teach lessons at the same time as telling a good story. I like a good mystery, but I also like that games can help better people. And that whole journey, that whole experience was worth it in my mind. Yeah, I enjoyed completing the game, but it was dealing with the situations and seeing my repercussions that really made the difference. And so I would say that's why that's why it was nice to be on this journey. And so that's my take on the Quarry. Um, those are the lessons that I learned out of it. I honestly think you guys should check it out if you haven't already. And if you haven't seen my videos, go ahead and check it out because you can play this game and it's gonna your choices may end up completely different than mine. But until then, guys, I'll talk to you later and have a happy Halloween. Later.